Well, hello. I wanted to talk to you today about the different types of digestion in human design. Now, I'm not a human design expert, but I do find this tool very helpful when I'm working with my students, especially through my program, The Breakthrough. And it's a tool that I'll be using throughout all of my different programs because it's proven to be another clue, another bit of information that you can use to get to know yourself better. I am very open and welcoming of anything that helps me understand myself better. To me, this is the essence of life. We're here to get to know ourselves better so we have a better experience. And when we're having a better experience and taking care of ourselves, we're actually better able to support the collective good, right? So it all starts with you. So any tool that gives me a little insight is welcome in my book. I love human design. I've been connected to it on and off throughout the years, but this year in particular, I've been using a lot of the insights for marketing, for understanding my digestion, for understanding better ways to express myself and what to allow and not allow into my life. So I'm going to go through the very basic foundational understanding that I have regarding digestion and human design. Now, digestion is not only regarding what you eat, it's also anything you consume, anything that comes into your body, into your mind, into your system that you have to digest. We digest words, we digest information, we digest images, sounds, and of course, what we eat. So take this as a template to understand in general how you consume and digest and process anything that comes into your body. All right. So there are 6 types of digestion in human design. The easiest way to find this is I love the Jenna Zoe app. It's called My Human Design. She talks about digestion. A lot of people don't talk about digestion since it's such a specific bit of human design. Most people focus on your design or in the gates that give you traits or in how you respond and how you know that you're aligned or out of alignment with your design. But a lot of people don't talk about digestion. She likes to talk about digestion, and you can download her app, or I think you can do it on her website too, and it will give you digestion type. You can also go into Maya Mechanics, which is like the holy grail of this stuff. It was the guy that actually downloaded and channeled human design, Uruhu, I believe it's his name. And you can put your birth info in there, and then it will give you in the advanced tabs. If you want help, let me know. I can help you find it. But again, this is a tool that I'm really using. And human design is a combination of astrology, Kabbalah, different lineages, different lines of reading humans that we've had. I'm not going to go into the history of it because that's not what we're here for today. So in terms of digestion, there are 6 types of design of digestion. Look it up. Once you have yours, let me know if you want to dive a little bit deeper into it. Today, I just wanted to give you the overview so that you have something to connect to. All right, so the number 1 type is connected to appetite, to how much food we actually take in, and it's divided into 2, consecutive and alternating. This is believed to be the most basic type of eating, some related to the caveman diet. Cavemen, our ancestors, they were not really hunters, they were gatherers and foragers. So if imagine they were walking down a field and there was a fig tree, that's what they would eat for days as they competed with other animals to actually get a fig. If they came across a dead animal, or they actually killed a little rabbit or something, they'll be eating rabbit for days. So they didn't have, when people say paleo is a caveman diet, they didn't have a plate of food. These guys had like one thing at a time. And what that was, it was. Hold on, my arm is. So this is the most connected to that. So it's divided into 2, consecutive and alternating. It encourages simplicity in food, so not mixing too many ingredients. So eating roast chicken, grilled vegetables, and sauteed sweet potato over a stew with all of the things mixed in it. This is not to say that you shouldn't eat stews. Again, this is just when we use astrology and human design and any of these practices that give you clues as to how you are, it just gives you an understanding that you can work with. That doesn't mean, oh, now I only have to, I'm a Libra. So now I know Libras are indecisive. We're actually not very balanced. That's what people think. We're always seeking balance. So does that mean that if I'm not seeking balance, I'm out of alignment? No, that just helps me understand, oh, it's harder for me to make a decision. So that's something that I know about myself. So I find ways to make that easier for me. So in understanding that if you are consecutive or alternating eating type, digestion type, doesn't mean that now you're going to eat one thing at a time, but that is what your design prefers. So for consecutive, it's, oh, my daughter is like that. So she'll have a plate of food and she'll eat the potatoes first, the chicken second, the broccoli third. She never mixes it up. And this is even before I knew any of this stuff. And then I looked it up and it's like, oh my God, it totally makes sense. So you probably prefer to eat that way, and it is encouraged, keeping your meals very simple and not too much variety, not too many seasonings, not too many sauces. So play with that. That's for the consecutive. For the alternating, variety is more encouraged. So not eating the same foods too repetitively or having a few more ingredients on your plate. Sharing food is something encouraged, or something that you already noticed that you prefer. And you have a very strong sense of smell for the foods that you feel are good for you. So it's really connected to that. And again, that connects to information, not trying to be on the computer and the phone and all the things if you are a consecutive digester. So focusing on one thing at a time, or if you're in a restaurant, if there's like people talking and loud music, this probably throws you off. You're better off focusing on one thing at a time. For the alternating types, being in groups, enjoying the food more, being more connected is something that you may have already noticed or that you may want to tap into. All right. So that was number one. Number two is connected to taste, to the sense of taste. And this is divided in open or closed. So having a routine with either being open or closed to foods, meaning what do I feel like eating? Do I feel like eating this, or what don't I feel like eating? So these are two questions you can ask yourself. What do I feel like eating, or what don't I feel like eating? Has a precise, have a repetitive diet. So you probably like to eat more of the same things, and seasonality is encouraged, which is sometimes difficult because, for example, I'm in New York and it's wintertime. There's no seasonality. So I'm not either of these types, but if I was, this is something that would be more difficult for me. So again, this is not for you to like be like, no, I only have to eat seasonal. These are tips and guidelines for you to connect to. So open digestion allows for more variety. What do I feel like eating today? This is a question that is encouraged for you to ask yourself. And following that, as opposed to prepping a meal for 7 days and being like, oh, I have to eat this every day. Probably really boring to you. You have the desire to eat the same things until you're ready to move on, not because you have to. So you may eat the same thing a few times and you're like, I'm over it. So what do I feel like eating is a good question for you. For closed, they don't like to experiment too much with food. They really like to stick with the same thing, and they really like to have a routine. So the question here will be, what don't I feel like doing? So it's the opposite, right? What do I feel like doing? Open. What don't I feel like doing? And I want to stick with this. Okay, number three, this is connected to thirst. And this is connecting to the temperature of foods. And this is apparently evolutionarily how the basis of cooking began. We didn't used to cook food, and then we started cooking food. And apparently that's why we grew up prefrontal cortex and became smarter. And here we are. So hot and cold, right? Hot and cold. So hot, eating and drinking items above the warmer than body temperature. My husband is like that, and he needs hot food. And this is before I knew this. The man cannot eat. This is cold. This got cold. He has to reheat his food. He likes hot food. My grandpa was probably like that too. And traditionally, heating foods, in Ayurveda and in traditional Chinese medicine, there are foods that are cooling and there are foods that are heating. So warming foods, hot foods are dairy, nightshade vegetables, sugar, alcohol. I'm listing all of them. I'm not saying like include these, but anything that produces more heat, ginger, spice, that's a tendency. How does this translate into information? Something that feels warm, something that feels cozy, something that it's intimate. There's a heat in how we receive. And cold would be the opposite, foods and drinks at a colder than body temperature, and traditionally foods that are cool. And also this goes to your environment. How do you prefer your environment, hotter or colder? How do anything that comes into your body? So cooling foods in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, because I mean they have differences, but they have a lot of parallels. Watery vegetables, cucumbers, melon, watermelon, fish over heavier protein. So building crisp things that are more on the raw side, salads as opposed to the cooked side. So play with that and see how that feels. All right, we're almost done. Number 4 has to do with the sense of touch. So it's more focused on the environment you're eating in versus the food itself. So I am in this category. No, yes, I am in this category. So because I'm a calm atmosphere. I need to eat when it's peaceful and calm. If too many people are talking around the dinner table, that's not to say that I don't enjoy going to dinner, but that's a different experience to me. When I go out with friends and I go out to dinner, and it's almost like I'm so much, if I'm in the right environment, I'm having fun with what's happening. But for me on a day-to-day, I need a calm atmosphere. I need quiet. My kids know that. I love eating alone because I'm the person that I'll sit down, I'll eat, and it's done. I don't need to sit with my food, looking at a computer. I don't multitask when I eat. I eat and I'm done. That way I absorb it. I look at my meal. I'm very ritualistic about my meal. And I need even calm my body before I eat. I can't just come in the door, sit down and eat. I like to take my time. Prepping food, putting my food together is important for me because I feel like that's how I start digesting. By the way, you do start digesting when you look at your food, when you smell it, even before you put it in your mouth. It is believed that if you would be hunting and gathering your food, your body's already starting the digestion process. That's how smart our body is. It starts getting enzymes ready. It starts getting the stomach acid ready. So preparing food is already digesting food. And a nervous environment likes a lot of activity. They like to eat out in restaurants. They like when the kitchen is busy. They like kids playing. They like more activity around them. And they like to eat with people in front of the TV or in public. So very opposite than me. They actually eat and digest better in that. Again, how does this translate into you taking in information? When I'm reading, I am reading. If I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a podcast. It needs to be my full concentration in a calm state going into this, as opposed to somebody that's like playing music and reading at the same time, and there's a lot of activity around them. Okay, number 5, sound. More focus on the sounds in the environment while eating versus the food itself. High, noise needed while eating, listening to music, watching TV, sound. This also translates into the actual plate. I have a student and she was getting really bored with her food. So when we found out her digestion was high, she makes her plates really vibrant and very loud. And she's having so much fun with it. So color, vegetables, flavor, boom. That is something that makes the food more appealing. A lot of us get bored eating. I hear this every day. I'm so bored with my food. I'm so bored with my food. Maybe look this up and see what you may be missing. And then low would be quiet needed while eating. Silence, noise canceling headphones. I mean, that would be a little exaggerated that you have to put noise canceling headphones. But this is to say that this person prefers low sound. And you can see how there's some parallels. But for example, this person that's low sound, they could have a lot of activity around them, but if they don't hear it, they're fine. For me, I cannot have people walking by me and doing stuff as I'm trying to be calm. Same for my sleeping. I need everything calm, right? And then the last one is connected to light. How much light is present in the environment while eating? Most sensitive of all digestive systems. Direct or indirect. My son is indirect. He is not hungry during the day. He likes to eat at night. As 4 or 5 hits, this guy, the little guy, starts eating food. Can I get him to eat breakfast? Never. So indirect, need to eat food at night, need less light, can eat during the day, of course, but the digestion is just lower. So you may just not want to eat during the day. That doesn't mean you're going to skip a meal. That means maybe your meals are a little smaller and focused. And dimly lighting just, it's, and again, applies to if you're reading, if you're relaxing, if you're taking information in. Indirect lighting, low lighting, and direct, people like to eat during the day, light needed. They don't feel good if they eat too late at night and then have to go to sleep with food and that's undigested, which is kind of general for everybody, but in particular, this may be something that you experience. And they really need sunshine and daylight to calibrate digestion, to calibrate the digestive system. So this is just an overview. I hope this tool helps you. If you have any questions and you want me to walk you through, this is something that I'm learning as I go along, and I find it fascinating. So keep the questions coming and let me know how this lands for you.